Good evening, today is May 15th, and today I'll continue to be talking about the coronavirus. So the first piece of news that I'd like to talk about is that Sweden has a high-stakes gamble in that while other European countries have been closing down, Sweden is an outlier that it has not, it has stayed open. So while Sweden has avoided the devastating toll of outbreaks in Italy, Spain, and Britain, it has also seen an extraordinary increase in death mortality. Data have shown this. Almost 30% more people than usual have died during the country's epidemic, which is a far greater increase than the rest of Scandinavia, like Denmark or other countries. So I think these factors are helping Sweden, such as low population density, a high share of single-person households, and extremely strong public health care system, and low levels of chronic diseases like obesity that have made the virus more deadly. So even without a lockdown, its economy has taken a substantial hit, and I think from here, the United States can use Sweden's story to reopen, but we also have to think that we are not like Sweden and that we don't have an extremely strong public health care system. But overall, I think we can look at Sweden for example, but not follow in its exact footsteps because each country is different. The second thing that I'd like to talk about is that Penney has filed for bankruptcy today, becoming the latest and the largest retailer to fail. So Penney, the department store chain founded in 1902, has had more than 800 stores in the United States, and its collapse followed other retail bankruptcies this month, including J. Crew and the designer men's clothing brand John Barrettos. However, I think JCPenney represents the biggest casualty by far based on locations and with stores that are anchors at many American malls with nearly 85,000 employees. So if it files for bankruptcy, there is going to be a lot of damage that is going to be done, I think, and that JCPenney falling is kind of a symbol of how much a hit the retail stores have taken during this pandemic. And I think it truly represents how hard it will be for the retailer stores and the entire U.S. economy to reopen after this pandemic, because if JCPenney is closing, then other stores may file for bankruptcy as well. The third thing that I'd like to talk about is that Florida, compared to New York, is doing a much better job. So Florida is the second largest state in the United States with the highest number of percentage of elder Americans. 20% of the state is elder Americans, and in New York, it's only just over 16%. Florida is also more diverse than New York, and with a much larger percentage of Hispanic population, and about the same percentage of the population is African American. Yet, Florida is also a much more populous state than New York, with about 2 million more residents. However, Florida has done extremely well with the coronavirus, but the media has just completely chosen to ignore this, while New York has absolutely not. New York is responsible for over 50 perhaps right now, percent of the coronavirus cases in the entire country, while Florida has only about 1,000 deaths and is just responsible for under 2%. Yet Florida shut down much later than New York, almost 2 weeks later. So I think clearly we can see from the data that Florida is doing extremely well, and yet the media is just chosen to criticize this Governor DeSantis, while Governor Cuomo of New York has been praised well, and I've seen as like a extremely strong political person in the media's eyes. So I think it truly shows how the media can blind us all from the truth, which is that Florida's governor is doing well and that New York's governor is not. That's it. Thank you for listening and have a good day. Thank you.